Gotham City. Sanity is just a prison in your minds. Wake up! Be free.
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Boba Vol and you are watching Boba Talks. Today's video is all going to be about that Gotham Season 3 second half of the season trailer that I have been meaning to get out for a few days now, but I'm finally going to talk about what I think of the return of Jerome Valeska coming to the second half of Season 3, which is dropping in around episode 12. So if you've never seen a video like this before, I'm just going to be going over the trailer and then what I thought of the trailer and then my theories. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of what I think is going to happen in the second half of this season. So guys, don't forget to leave your thoughts about what I discuss in this video in the comments below, as I really love to know what you're thinking. And before we waste any more time, let's get straight into the video. Okay guys, so sorry this video took a while to get out. I just wanted to get a few videos out the way of the crossover last week with the DC TV shows. But finally I am here to talk to you guys about the Jerome Returns trailer, or just the Season 3 Episode 12 promo that got released last week. Now I have a lot to say about this trailer, so I'm just going to be going over the trailer itself, over the different things we actually see in the trailer, and then afterwards I'm going to talk about Jerome himself, a couple of ideas that I have, as well as the leaks that Cameron Monaghan has been tweeting out and then deleting, just like we've talked about in the previous video. And then I'm also going to touch upon what I think is going to happen in the second half of Season 3. Okay, so at the beginning of this trailer, you can see that Jerome is walking throughout this place that sort of looks like a bit of a morgue. And the only reason I say that is because in the bottom left corner, you can actually see a dead body sort of wrapped up in a bit of plastic. But it seems to be where Jerome is sort of having his like base of operations, if you will. And the reason why I say this is Jerome is because he looks incredibly like the back of the shot we get a little bit late in the trailer, which I'll get onto in a little bit. But then shortly after that, we see these sort of pods, these sort of stasis pods that I talked about in the previous video. And in the previous video, I actually talked about these pods because there was this leaked image of this man and a woman in their own pods. And I thought maybe it could be Thomas and Martha Wayne, even though that is very unlikely. But here we see there's actually a lot more than two. Now, this could be how Jerome was preserved. It could have absolutely nothing to do with Jerome. But considering it's in, the Jerome Returns trailer, it could be well how they brought him back to life. It seems to be definitely some sort of cryogenic freezing, as you can see the frost sort of on the windows there. Now the next scene, we see the back of what seems to be Cameron Monaghan or Jerome himself. They don't show us his face though, and what makes me most interested in this trailer is that they're all celebrating and cheering at the actual screen. They're not actually cheering at him. Now, I've got a lot of thoughts in relation to this, which I'll touch upon later, but just bear in mind that they're not actually looking at Jerome himself. I mean, do they even know that's him standing there whilst they're cheering at this trailer? I mean, I know that sounds daft, but it really feels like if, they knew he was standing there, they were like, holy shit, like, that's Jerome, he's right there. So it seems that Jerome or Cameron Monaghan here from the behind is sort of presenting this trailer to all those members of the cult. And then we actually get a little glimpse of the trailer itself with Harvey and Jim watching it, as well as a glimpse of all the cult following just cheering at it just like before. And we also get a little image of that guy we actually saw and I showed you guys in my previous video. It's actually the actor I showed in that Instagram photo of him showing himself on set. So we're actually seeing him in the video, which is kind of cool. And from the clip you see here, Jim like kicking someone. It just seems like Jim and Harvey try and shut this down, obviously, and they probably run into a bit of rebellion from the cult followers. But that basically sums it up. I'm not going to really talk about that Penguin moment, not for now, because there was like a little glimpse of Penguin. But mainly I want to talk about what the hell is going on. This trailer does say he will return, and this is in episode 12. But I just want to talk about this trailer in relation to the leaks that Cameron Monaghan has been uploading. We've got a lot more of a clear image of his face now. Now, a few of you have actually gone ahead and contacted me on Twitter to show, some leaked images, as well as some comparisons that people were drawing between this and the Death in the Family Joker, and also some images of the puzzle actually pieced together, because he actually uploaded these photos in different parts, and now people have gone through the effort of putting it together. And here on screen right now, you're seeing an image of what he looks like with the makeup on, with all the images attached together. Now, a lot of people are talking about how Gotham is adapting Jerome's new storyline to that of the Joker's, of where he cut his face off and then, sort of stitched it back on. And as you see in this image, we see that his eyes have got like, little slits cut around it, as if like that skin has sort of been put on there. And that is doable within the Gotham TV series. I mean, we've got the doll maker that has been teased before. And only a few episodes ago, we got, this facial transplant episode of a guy doing that to people. So you can get my drift of how they can actually pull that off. So this actually just begs a question of a theory that I've got going, and by all means, I am really not saying this is going to happen. In fact, I think this is quite unlikely, but regardless, I just want to share it with you anyway. Now, we know that Jerome did die, and we know that their original idea was that Jerome, was going to get killed off, and through his death, he's going to inspire that one person out of all those people who have got inspired through Jerome's antics to become the Joker one day. So I'm thinking, with all this new makeup of what they're doing with the eye slits and how they're putting it on his face, I've got a couple of questions to pose to you. If he did get brought back to life, why would his face look like this? Why would it be cut off only to be put back on? That just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. If he was brought back, I can imagine it being like, similar to Fish or the other experiments in the Indian Hill. So I'm thinking maybe he wasn't even brought back via Indian Hill. I mean, that kind of does contradict the scene of when they all walked out the bus, and then, we got that little Joker tease / Jerome tease of when he laughed and he was in that bathrobe. But as I said, with all these new images, we can see that with the makeup, they made very evident points as to the fact that he's got cutouts around his eyes, etc., and he's got an extended smile. So to cut to the point, I'm thinking, could this be one of Jerome's inspired members of the cult who have actually gone through the length and effort to have Jerome's face cut and transplanted onto their own face, and now he's going to become the new Joker / Jerome character inspired by Jerome himself? Now, to make this more interesting, obviously they would use Cameron Monaghan, because they want this guy, who obviously went through the effort through cutting Jerome's face off and putting onto his own, to look just like him, with a bit of, obviously, of a hideous face, but, mainly looking like Jerome. So they would probably still use Cameron Monaghan as an actor, which they have. But could there be a possibility that Cameron Monaghan's Jerome is dead, and now one of the many members of the cult has come forward and has got so obsessed to the point where he got so inspired by Jerome that he's taken his face and identity literally and is enacting out the persona of Jerome as himself? He's sort of invested in the character and he's become Jerome / the future Joker himself. Now, I know this may sound crazy to you, and some of you may say, shut up, this is not what's happening, this is Jerome, but the only reason I'm saying this is because it just doesn't make sense to me as to why they've gone through this whole sort of facial transplant looking thing, and how it's, why would he have his eyes cut around? I mean, if there is another option and it just turns out that this is just Jerome with a bit of a hideous look on his face for some random reason, then fair enough. I mean, that's cool. To be honest, I would actually rather it be Jerome himself than some crazy dedicated fan of his, stealing his face. I mean, even though that story would be pretty cool as well, because that kind of coincides with what they wanted, with Jerome inspiring someone to become the Joker one day. But yeah, I would just prefer it to be Cameron Monaghan's Jerome that we saw in season 1, who did die, to be brought back to life, just like Fish, Mooney and all the others. Because there is truly no other reason as to why they would just rip his face off and put it back on. And yes, you could say death in the family, but I really don't think, what's the point of his face just coming off to be put back on? I mean, yeah, you could say, yeah, but what was the point in that in the comics? But I really don't feel like we're there yet. And I just feel like they would have to give a really good reason as to why they did that to Jerome, if he still is actually Jerome in season 3. Because they say he will return, and they could be sort of telling the truth figuratively, but not literally, if that makes sense. They could say Jerome is coming back, but not the Jerome Velasquez that we knew in season 2 and season 1. This could just be the new Jerome Velasquez / Joker, that he inspired such a maniac to steal his face, and he could be Ginger himself, which what we've seen in the trailer. That just takes me back to the question I have, is like, we get that close up of Cameron Monaghan but from behind, and we see that everyone is, cheering about the new trailer or sort of dedication video, but it's just like, as I said, none of them are looking at him and none of them are like, holy shit, he's right there. So it just makes me think, is this guy like, I'm the new Jerome Velasquez, or is he not even going to say it like that? Is he just going to be like, I am him? This would explain the extravagant makeup that has been put on Cameron Monaghan's face. If a crazy cult follower went through the effort of doing this, then maybe, through the surgery, they gave him a bit of an extended smile. That's why his eyes have got a bit of slits there, because he's had the skin put onto his face. Could this be the new Joker? That's what I'm saying. I would love to know your thoughts on this, guys, because I know it's a bit of a long-winded explanation, but I really feel like this could be a possibility. But if it doesn't turn out to be a crazy dedicated fan of Jerome's, and it does actually turn out to be Jerome himself, then let me know why you think they've gone with the makeup with the slit around the eyes, the circles around the eyes. And if it does just turn out to be Jerome from season 1 and season 2, I definitely agree with what David said here on Twitter when he tweeted at me saying, I see that a lot of people are thinking that this photo is supposed to be the Death of Family Joker, but actually it's Cameron Monaghan with unfinished Joker makeup. And I completely agree with that. I really don't think they're going to do Death in the Family Joker this early on. Or I do agree with David here just in the sense of that this is just the makeup they've put on his face, and when they've, you know, brushed it all down, that's how he's got a bit more of an extended or crooked nose and his smile. It's just basically the pre-makeup they put on before the makeup goes on top of that, if that makes sense. But if they do end up keeping the slit eyes after that makeup is applied on top of that makeup for the overall finish, then it does really suggest that his face has come off and been put back on, and it really does feel like that might be put on another person. But if that isn't the case, I don't know. Why would they take Jerome's face off to only put Jerome's face back on? Let me know what you think in the comments below, as I really have no idea to this. But either way, guys, I am dead excited for Jerome to come back himself in one way or another, if it is just his original Jerome Valeska character, or whether it's a crazy lunatic fan stealing his face and then, you know, enacting Jerome's persona in himself, then so be it. Either way, I'm dead excited for this new arc to come to Gotham Season 3 in the second half. So now to talk about just the second half of the season in general. Now, a lot of you have been asking, you know, where is Fish? And that's a very good question. We haven't seen her since around episode 2, I believe. And if you are a big fan of Fish, don't worry. I truly believe that she is going to be coming back in the second half of the season. And this is probably going to tie in with the whole Nigma and Oswald plot, since she sort of escaped through Penguin letting her off in the second episode. Now all this stuff has come to pass with Isabella through Penguin killing her, and, you know, Nigma now finding that out and working with Tabitha and Butch to take him down. I feel that in the second half of the season, through what we found out through Nigma telling Butch and Tabitha and Barbara that he wants to tear him down and destroy everything that he has. I have heard some of you say that, you know, well, what does Penguin have apart from Nigma? And I do feel like, yeah, obviously he loves Nigma and he cares about him unbelievably a lot, but I do feel like, you know, his position in authority is kind of a lot more precious to him. I feel like we haven't been reminded about that in the show in a while, but I really do feel like, you know, even though Nigma will confront him and, you know, Oswald will obviously lose that part of affection for him eventually, he really does care about his position and that what he's gained from the past couple of years in Gotham. Because what you have to remember is that he came from being an umbrella boy for Fish Mooney to now practically the king of Gotham. I mean, Falcone isn't really around anymore. He's retired. So the true big cheese of Gotham, mob dealer, boss, or whatever you want to call it, criminal, is Oswald Cobblepot. And I mean, for crying out loud, he's mayor as well. So there is actually so much for Nigma to take away, apart from his obvious friendship, which will really upset Oswald, obviously, because, you know, he will still want to be friends with Nigma, and he will say that he only did it to get him out of Isabella's distraction or whatever. But after that storyline is kind of over and done with, he will cling onto his little empire that he's gathered together with dear life. And I'm thinking Fish Mooney will get involved here somehow. She went away to lick her wounds, and it's been quite a while now, so somehow with the whole Nigma plot going to take down Oswald, I think that Fish Mooney might offer to lend a hand, and you never know, Fish Mooney and the Riddler may work together. I think there's got to be a really big sort of Cobblepot war in the second half of the season. But I mean, we all know how it kind of ends up. Penguin still will rise up even after he falls in the second half of the season. As I've said before, he doesn't stay down for too long. But that is all I've got to talk about in this video today, guys. Let me know if you liked it in the comments below, and show me that you liked it through giving it a thumbs up, as it would be really appreciated. Mainly my question to ask you guys in today's video is, do you think that Cameron Monaghan's Joker or Jerome character in the second half of season 3 is going to be a crazy fanatic that like stole Jerome's face and is now enacting the new Jerome/Joker persona? Or do you think that it is still Jerome, the one that we saw in season 1 and season 2, just with a bit more of a weird crooked face and the smile and the weird eye slits? And if that is the case, let me know what you think the reason is for that. Maybe it had something to do with bringing him back to life, I don't know, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, as I'd love to hear them. Now guys, since Gotham isn't back till January the 6th, which absolutely sucks, I would love to know what you want me to make in the meantime in terms of Gotham videos. I will probably do another video talking more about my thoughts on the second half of the season predictions, as I only did mention the whole Riddler and Nigma and Fish plot, so I will go into more of an in-depth analysis on the second half of the season. But if there are any other videos that you want me to do, Gotham videos or not, please let me know in the comments below, as other shows will be going on break this week, I believe. as well. So I need some ideas on what to make for you guys. So just let me know in the comments below either way. Before I end this video, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting me on this channel. I believe we've just hit over 100,000 views, which is absolutely insane. I actually ran a YouTube channel before this, and I believe it took me just around 2 years to get 900 subscribers, and that is where we're at now practically. So I want to see if we can make it to 1,000 before New Year, which would be an absolutely amazing Christmas / New Year's present from you guys. So let's see if we can achieve that. To do that, you guys can help me through sharing these videos, telling your friends about them, tweeting them on Twitter, and just following me on Twitter, and just doing whatever else you can to share these videos. And it's just amazing. I really love you guys. This is what I really love to do, and I would really love to see it go somewhere someday. So I'm just really grateful that you guys are along with me for the ride. So as always, guys, have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.